This is the plaintiff, Alexis Bryson. She says she and her boyfriend moved into the defendant's apartment in the basement of her house, and she was ultimately evicted. It was mostly her boyfriend's fault because she got along fairly well with the woman. Bottom line, her belongings were damaged when there was a flood in the house. And now that she's out, she's having a heck of a time getting her security back and money for her waterlogged shoes. So she's suing for $1,480. This is the defendant, Frances Mascione. She says the plaintiff smoked marijuana in her home, which is a big no-no. The woman also had all sorts of people hanging out at wee hours of the morning, and she was afraid the girl was dealing drugs. She had to get rid of her, and fast, had her evicted, and most positively, definitely doesn't owe her any money. She's accused of smoking a tenant. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $4,887.19 for damages to the apartment.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Alexis Bryson, you are suing Frances Mascione for $1,480 that you say she owes you as your former landlord, and she is not paying you. You have a counterclaim against her for almost $5,000 in damages that you say she did when she lived at your place for 3 months. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what happened?
I was illegally evicted from the apartment. I was given less than 2 weeks notice to actually get out of the apartment when I have a lease that says I have 30 days notice.
Why'd you get out, though?
I did not realize that she wasn't allowed to take my key from me, but she had forcefully...
You're new at this.
I had not rented ever before.
Did she tell you why she wanted you out?
Yes, she did. It was mainly things that had to do with my ex-boyfriend.
Which is?
He didn't have a job. He had too many people over. He was smoking outside on the premises, even though she had told him that that was all right to do.
Smoking what?
Cigarettes and marijuana.
Did she tell me it was all right to smoke marijuana on her property?
Yes, she did. She said as long as it's not in the house, then it's completely fine.
Oh, okay.
She didn't.
Did you tell them, no, it's just fine for you to smoke marijuana in my house?
No.
Outside my house?
No, I didn't. When I rented the apartment to them, it was stipulated that there was no smoking, and they both needed to be employed.
Is that written somewhere?
I'm not sure if it's in the contract. I do have the contract here from the rental agreement.
Did you tell them they could smoke outside?
I told them they can smoke.
But you were assuming that they were talking about cigarettes?
I was a little lenient on the cigarettes.
Do you live there as well?
Yes, I do. So I told them.
Why is it that you told her get out and get out fast?
There was an issue actually right from the very beginning about the smoking, especially the pot. I believe that they were dealing pot from downstairs.
Why do you believe that?
Because of the amount, the smell was so overwhelming.
When you smelled that smell, what did you do?
I'm a school bus driver. I get randomly drug tested. I would come into my home and my house upstairs totally reeked of pot.
Totally reeked of pot.
Totally reeked of pot.
The unmistakable scent of marijuana.
And, I told them that they couldn't have that. And plus there was people coming at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning for work. And they'd be outside smoking outside my bedroom window. So you told them you can't do that, and what was their response? What are you talking about? We don't smoke marijuana. No, he said, I'm sorry. Okay, it won't happen again.
All right, and did it?
Well, constantly, yeah.
Okay, so...
I mean, people did stop coming after a while at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We didn't really have that. That kind of stopped.
Right, and then one fine day, you're walking in the yard, and what happens?
We're walking in the yard, and I find this cylinder about this big and about this round. You could smell what it was, and then
what was it?
I said, this is marijuana, this is pot. And I said to her, I can't have this anymore. I said, you guys need to leave. That was about July 3rd.
Okay. And did they leave by the 1st of August?
Ian moved out immediately, and I got a phone call from my real estate agent that Alexis had called her up and threatened her that if she didn't give her the $1,100 back, that she was going to report her. Yes, she was going to report her for renting an illegal apartment.
Was it an illegal apartment?
Yes.
You got a broker on an illegal apartment?
Well, we didn't discuss whether it was an illegal apartment or not. I just told her I had an apartment. So you never told her it's illegal and
she never bothered to find out?
Correct.
All right. She ended up returning the broker's fee to you, correct?
That's correct.
When did you find out that the apartment was illegal?
About a month into me living there, I'd say. Fran had actually said that to me.
So when did you tell her she needed to get out fast?
July 9th.
July 9th. And then she gets out when?
She slept there until August 2nd. And then on August 6th, she was escorted
But she's not completely out because she's suing for things she left behind. And I've read the text messages. So I know that you were complaining that she hadn't picked up her stuff.
Correct.
All right. So now what day did you move out?
I believe August 3rd was when I was out of the apartment. My stuff was not out until, I believe, the 6th.
You're not out till your stuff is out.
All right,
no
well,
one
then
can
it was
do
the 6th.
anything with it until your stuff is out. But then you still left stuff behind, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you leave behind?
I had left behind a bed frame, an armoire, some bigger furniture that I couldn't move myself. So I had asked her if I could have a few more days to keep the stuff, and she had said yes to that.
Okay. But then what happened?
Then I had previously reported her about the illegal apartment.
I don't understand because you're in the text being very polite, asking her if you could have a few more days, telling her you don't have trucks, cut me some slack, I just got a car. You're doing everything right. And then you choose to hink up your own situation by reporting her that you could have reported her a week later.
I actually had called my mom and talked to her about the whole scenario, and what had happened was...
And your mom told you to report her now in the middle of when you need her?
No, I was kind of freaking out, actually. Fran had yelled at me and called me a lot of names, called me a liar, called me a drug dealer, called me multiple different things. I had said to her while she was screaming at me, Fran, would you like me to report you? And she says, I do not care.
Okay. And then what happens? Then you find out you've been reported, and then you tell her, I took all your stuff to the dump.
Yeah, that was a
And
lie.
had you?
No.
Why did you lie?
I was irate at that point.
You lost it when you found out she reported you. How did you find out that she reported you?
Actually, I didn't lose it when I found out.
Yes, you did. I read it. You were totally polite until that point. And then, let's see if you lost it. Hold on. Why don't we read out your answers?
The defendant says the plaintiff was smoking pot like crazy in her apartment complex and she couldn't take it anymore. Defendant threw the plaintiff out. Let's listen.
You step foot near me or my property and you'll be arrested. Okay, well, I'm still entitled to my property as well. You should have thought of that before you made a phone call. Your stuff is at the dumps in Kings Park. It had to be emptied out since I was reported. You should have figured out that was what the town was going to make me do. That was your doing, not mine. Before the Holland guys get here later on, I'm giving you one more shot to take your stuff. And she says, I have to work tonight. I can't miss it because somebody who does everything illegally and lies to me wants me to come and get it at her leisure. You took my key from me, which you have absolutely no right to do. Listen, either you're coming to get your stuff or you're not. I'm not begging you. It's your junk, not mine. 25 minutes later. Okay, as far as I know, you have taken all you want from my house. Do not contact me or come here as I will be getting an order of protection. 25 minutes is not 30 days. I will have you arrested if you continue to harass me. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
There might be some of my answers omitted from that.
Really? Why don't you show me yours?
Okay. I have them on my phone. I didn't print them out.
Sure, no problem.
And
Give
so
me your
far as the day that I asked her for the key,
you don't have a right to ask her for the key. She says you took the key away from me.
I didn't take the key away from her.
Why don't you just call the police about
I did call the police.
Oh, wait, I know why, because the apartment's illegal.
No, I did call the police that day because my neighbor had come to me across the street. I had told her that I was having issues with Alexis, and her and her daughter apparently went out. And when they left, they saw Alexis sitting at the top of the street. And it was after I took the key, so I think she probably wanted to get into the apartment. She was waiting for me to leave. And when they returned from shopping, she still saw her sitting up there. So she came to me and said, doesn't your tenant have a white car? I think she's sitting up the block waiting for you to leave. And at that point, I called John. I was nervous. She said she was scared. I was definitely scared of Alexis also. Her own mom has a court order of protection against her. For what reason, I really have no idea.
Does your mom have an order of protection against you?
She did, yeah.
Okay. For what?
Just a lot of issues.
Okay. Okay, so after these texts, apparently you do make arrangements and go and take your stuff.
Yes, I had called a police officer to escort me to the house, and that's why.
And that happened on what date?
I think it was August 6th, ma'am.
Let me see the police report. What are you suing for, Alexis?
I'm just pretty much suing for my security back and also some damages that were done to some items of mine.
And the damages that were done are what? $380 for 4 pairs of shoes. What 4 pairs of shoes were damaged and where?
I have them right here.
Okay. And these shoes were damaged how?
In the closet that I kept my fall stuff in. there was, I guess, rainwater would get in and it leaked all over the floor, and I didn't open up the door until I was moving because it was all my fall stuff.
Right.
And there was just mold all over my shoes.
Do you have a picture of the leak?
No, I do not. I didn't know it existed until I had moved out, so.
Did you ever bring the leak to her attention?
I didn't know that it happened until I had tried to move out, and then I brought it to her attention, and she claimed that that was my fault.
Why was that her fault?
All right, Your Honor. Apparently, they somehow pulled the tub spigot off the wall, resulting in a leak and damages to the plumbing. And I'm assuming that that's where I had 2 plumbers come in to give me estimates.
Wait, how did they? Why do you say they pulled the
Well,
tub
because the
spigot?
apartment was all redone before they moved in.
Show me the proof that you had just redone that bathroom before they moved in.
John did it. I don't have any other proof other than John's word, but I do have pictures of what the damage I found after they left.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So if the lease has nothing about pot, is a tenant allowed to smoke pot right outside the house or the apartment?
No, they're not.
Why?
Because it's illegal.
Well, not everywhere, but in some states it's kind of most states it's a minor offense.
If they have their weed card, they can.
What do you think?
If I got the prescription for it, yeah.
So you need a prescription.
Right.
What about no prescription? What do you think?
Yes, and
You know what? You look like you're headed for confession. Why don't you exercise the old Miranda rights right now? Go inside the courtroom.
Okay. You have a counterclaim against her for $4,887.19 because according to you, the carpeting has been ruined and you're going to replace it to the tune of $2,500. Back rent, which is kind of funny because you don't have the right to any rent. You're suing for $775 in damaged ceiling tiles. Let me see the pictures of actual pictures as opposed to photocopies of them, which is what I had. How would ceiling tiles that cost like, I don't know, $10 or something in Home Depot ever be $775?
I have 2 different estimates if you'd like to see them.
Yeah, sure. Turn them in. Missing damaged vertical blinds. What happened to the blinds?
They were very cheap blinds, and they would break anytime we would open or close them. They would just fall off.
Now, what about all the holes in the carpet? The burn holes?
I wasn't aware of any. If there were, I don't.
Take a look at that.
It could possibly be from my ex-boyfriend. I don't know.
Yeah, well.
A lot of them don't even look like these. Oh, that's actually from the rust stains are from a trunk I had. I bought it from the Salvation Army and I didn't know it would rust. And I guess the water that had seeped in.
And this doesn't look like new plumbing fixtures. This looks like very old plumbing fixtures.
It is a cheaper quality. It's a plastic one. It's not a metal one.
Okay. So show me all of the estimates that you have. And what's your answer on the burn marks?
She had never let me into the apartment to clean it, so I could have possibly had cleaned it off.
So you're saying that you think the rust stains might come out. What about the burn holes?
That would not come out.
Yeah, there's an estimate in there because originally I was going to get the carpets cleaned and I called a company and they said it was uncleanable. It should be in there too. That was the route I was going first before knowing I had to replace carpets.
When was that carpet originally installed? In other words, how old was the carpeting?
The carpet was installed before I bought the house, which is 3 years now. I'm in there, July.
Okay. I think you're bloated on the ceiling tiles. I think that you don't have proof that it's her fault on the tub spout. I think that you have a lot of nerve asking for back rent. But that carpet is a problem. It's a very big problem.
Very true.
Okay. It's a depreciated value of the carpet that's 3 years old. It's not new value. I find that you're entitled to $2,500. You've kept $1,100, which means that I find a sum judgment in favor of the defendant in the amount of $1,400. Let me be clear and let me explain. If you rent out an illegal apartment, the one thing you forfeit is the chance to ask for rent. Mm-hmm. You do not forfeit the chance to ask for damages that actually happened. Mm-hmm. So my hands are tied, and I find in favor of the defendant in the amount of $1,400. That's my judgment. Good luck, folks.
Well, first, let's see what the plaintiff has to say about the outcome of this case. What about the judge's ruling here, which she collects quite a bit on you? How'd you do all that damage in such a short time?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't really think it was mainly my fault. I mean, there's a lot of bugs. We killed a lot of bugs, and we would sometimes use like a flame to kill them, and that's about it.
Flame?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it was the easiest way to kill like huge bugs that were probably like that big. So, yeah.
You ran around with a little lighter,
yeah.
killing bugs? All right. All right, head right around that way, okay? All right, come on in here. All right, so you understand the law a little bit better, and you got a little lesson in the law here?
Absolutely.
Step up a little bit. What's your feeling on what the judge ruled here?
I thought she was fair. It was an illegal apartment. I'll never rent again, that's for sure.
How do you like the tenant you picked?
Lovely.
Okay, Harvey?
You know, here's the deal. Landlords are crazy to rent apartments illegally. The tenants have all sorts of rights if it's an illegal apartment, even if the tenants are not in the up and up. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.